So, as you can probably work out, I'm filling up these pallet collars. If you watched the videos before, or the channel before, you might recognise these as being the pallet collars that I used to build very fast, no dig bed. Great way of doing it. And so what I've done here is, if you remember in the last video, you saw a lot of rubbish around. So cardboard on the ground, and then pallet collars on the top, and then fill it with compost. Why am I doing that, you're asking? You know what, sometimes I ask myself the same question. But the idea is that I want to start creating an area for soft fruits. And when I first came here, like I say, I wanted to obviously grow our own veg. And fruit is a big part of our lives here. Back in the UK, I used to grow a variety of raspberries that gave me 2 crops, one in the summer and one in the winter, that a mate of mine crossbred. So I got a autumn fruiting one and a summer fruiting one, and he crossed them, and they were very prolific. You used to get no end of the things. So, but I came across this plant here, and I originally bought 3 of them and I put them in the orchard, but I've transplanted them over because, like I say, I want this space to be for soft fruits in the main. Now, if you want to know what this is, you got it from the thumbnail, but here's a short video that I did. I can tell you a bit more about it.
Once upon a time, in the mystical world of berries, a gooseberry met a blackcurrant. Against all odds, they created the Jostaberry, part gooseberry, part blackcurrant, and very delicious. The Jostaberry, or Ribes X nidigrallaria, if you want to sound smart, is a thornless, vigorous shrub producing dark, sweet tart berries that ripen in midsummer. Think of it as the berry equivalent of a rock star's baby. Ready to grow your own Jostaberry? Step 1. Find the perfect spot, full sun or partial shade. Step 2. Plant in well-draining, fertile soil. Step 3. Water it like you love it, but don't drown it. Give it space, because this baby likes to spread out. Mulch it up, prune it like a bonsai master, and boom. You'll have enough berries to impress your grandma. When they turn deep blue-black and firm to the touch, it's showtime. Eat them fresh, make jam, or freeze them for later, when you need a berry emergency fix. Jostaberry, the berry you never knew you needed? Let me know how you get on now. Let's go back to the garden.
So I picked up the 3 that I had growing, and this is a different bed to what we've just been looking at. And from what I can work out from these guys, is that they'll send up runners just like the acacias do, which is why I've got those 2 in that first box you've just seen. But these I put in to the bed last year that grew the cucumbers and some peppers, and they did that brilliantly. So I know this bed is good. And to the back of them, I planted these climbing roses. But as usual, there's 5 of them there. They're not any old climbing rose. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the name of it. It's a Latin name. But basically, it's a climber, and it's going to give me fruits the size of tomatoes, salad tomatoes, that I can use to make rose hips from. Now I've got these 3 in here, and there's 2 extras I planted over that new box. Jack is getting a bit keen about the noise of the geese next door. But he doesn't seem that fussed, does he? Looking about. So back to these pallet collars. Now I've deliberately overlaid the cardboard here. And on all these edges, I've got the tape. So I'm going to be trimming these back so I don't have any tape in there at all. But it also gives me a bit of a barrier to stop any weed growth getting in underneath, as has happened in this particular one here. So my next job is to get this one cleared. Remember the other day I showed you the chard? Well, they've all come out, but you can see a bit of weed growth in there, and I've left that one in just to see if it's going to come back. But here's the other experiment. Now this is the arugula, as lots of people call it. I'll stick to the name that I prefer, which is wild rocket. Now, you're looking at this and I'm thinking, that's had it. But what I learnt last year was If you can see here, I've got some new growth. Yep, that's definitely wild rocket. Now, one of two things is going to happen here. What I did notice in the winter, every time it got hit by a frost, it seemed to be able to regenerate itself and grow back. And that's what I reckon this is going to do. So I'm leaving it in here. Like I say, I've got a bit of new growth in there. And what I want to do is leave it. Because what I learnt last time was that this can go to flower and then go to seed, which is the seeds that I used from a different location to get this. Now, I can let the seeds grow, and then I can harvest them and use them again in another location like I've done here. But the other thing with this guy is that I can actually consume the seeds, and they're quite a peppery taste to them. So they're worth harvesting just for that, if nothing else. And throwing them into a salad, you get a stronger taste of the rocket, or a gruyere, whatever you want to call it. And you're getting 2 crops for 1 seed. So that, to me, is a pretty good thing. Of course, if it doesn't grow back, well, I should just weed it all out, and it can go on the compost as a green addition. Okay, what else? I've just come out to the front of the garden here, because this is where I picked up those pallet collars from that we've just been looking at, where I've planted those Jostaberries and the wild rocket. Now, it doesn't look very pretty, does it? If we come round to here, there's a couple of things to point out. First of all, these stalks are the remains of the Rebecca's that grew last year, and if you look, they're quite bulky. Can you see all these holes? It's full of mice. Well, it was. I think they're gone now, and I've got daffodils growing, coming through. Same on there, they're the oxide daisies. They didn't seem to do as well as I was hoping. And this one here has got a lilac. There's a couple of daffodils in there, and there's quite a few over there. So it doesn't look very pleasant. I think what I'm going to do is take these oxides out of here. I'm going to let the daffodils grow, and then when they've finished for the season, I'll lift them and put them somewhere else, and then this lot will all settle down over the next few weeks. And these are all the lilies that we planted, I think 3 years ago now. We put them in here, just a couple of tubers, 3 or 4 tubers, and look how they're just taking off. Give us a wonderful bright orange colour through the summer. Bit of a soaker hose there, which I installed, and there's a few aquiledias that have grown from seed. So I'm expecting great things. And this little stalky thing there, that's a Montbrucia. So I'm expecting that to come back year after year. It gets stronger and stronger. So if you're excited as Jack is about the Jostaberry, why not give it a go? I think it's worthwhile. So hopefully, as Jack keeps an eye on any mice activity, we'll leave him to do his thing, and I'll catch up with you next time. But for now, take care.